Dziękuję bardzo. Agus filtro istak. Is Mr. Drolin. And will to ma. Are you well? You guys having a good morning? Having a pretty good day here? I wanted to bring you guys into the know about Celtic and Druidic types of herbal resources available to you. There's an author out there who has done amazing work, and she has a bunch of books out there that I don't think many people know about. And I don't say many people that don't know about them. I think there's lots of people that know about them, but I don't think as many people know about them as there should be. The pagan community, witches, Wiccans too, I think could benefit from knowing her work. And who are we talking about? We are talking about Ellen Everett Hopman. You could Google her. You can Google her work. She has a YouTube channel. She's done videos for other people on YouTube. She's been on countless documentaries. But I know a lot of my viewers are really into the herbal side of the craft. So I wanted to share with you guys some of her stuff because it's amazing. So what do we got here? And there's two more that we have. I say we because my wife and I share these books, and she happens to have those in her car at the moment. Those other ones are the ones that I can't usually get my hands on because my wife has them. I've read them, but I can't seem to hold on to them. So let's take a look at these. The first one that I read was this one. And besides it being really wickedly cool looking and whatnot, I found it to be very down to earth, easy to follow, but full bodied, and it has let's just the hazel. Let's just check that out. The hazel. So it covers Celtic stuff. There's Native American stuff. So it's kind of broad spectrum, which I like because being here in the States, it does address some of the things that it doesn't address if it was specifically a European book or something from the Isles. So this was the first book that I read by her. It was awesome. It has practical stuff in it as well. Make this, do that, if that's kind of your thing, which is really neat. I wouldn't say it's very heavy on the how to make this or that. I mean, there's some of that there, but not like some of her other books. So there was this one. The next one that I read was this one. You see that? See that? This is a brilliant book. Buy this book. Now, A Druid's Herbal for the Sacred Year. She gives stuff on the Om or the Agam, depending on your pronunciation. Stuff about the Earth Year, our festival dates, our holidays, and she does provide the eightfold year. She does incorporate the solstices and the equinoxes, and for instance, let's just pull up something up here. I just pulled up Imbolc. She'll have the herbs of this holiday. She gives the Latin name with it. the parts that you use, the herbal uses, the homeopathic uses, the magical uses. Um, she talks about the cautions of using certain things for other, for you know. So yeah. So she has that. She goes through, and then she's got herbs of the druids in here. She's got scientific evidence, Mesolithic, the Neolithic, which plants that we actually know about. Some type of herbal alchemy in the planets, if that's your thing, which I think was pretty cool. So she's got it divided up into, the moon and Mercury and things like that, which I think a lot of us that are into paganism in general kind of dig little avenues like that. Suffice to say, we don't have evidence for this or we don't have evidence for that. If you're living a magic lifestyle, there's certain aspects of the craft, if you will, that do call you that might not be traditional. So that's up for you to decide if that's your personal path. So, I mean, depending on what it is, I'll either read it, study it, and have education about it, read it, study it, and then actually put it to use. And sometimes putting it to use and letting it fade away, and then it comes back in cycles. But she has stuff about, she's got some last rites stuff here. Some stuff about, like, hand fasting and marriage rites. Stuff about, house blessings. And these are all dealing with the different herbs. So this book is amazing. Even though it's called the Druid's Herbal, I would say you could also call it a Celtic Herbal. You could call it a Gaelic Herbal. So it's not just like, oh, I can't read that because I don't follow a Druid path. Read the book. You'll love the book. You will reference the book. You will use it often. Next, we have this. Now, I think if you look at this, it's like the artwork on these books is just amazing. Right? It's just beautiful. I mean, these ones I think are great. Like these pastel colors and so this is the one that we're talking about next. This. See this? You see that? That's beautiful. I mean, that should be a poster. That should be, here hanging in the wren's nest. So, a Druid's Herbal of the Sacred Tree Medicine. Now, with the last book, that's the Druid's Herbal for the Sacred Year. This is Sacred Tree Medicine, so it's specifically dealing with the trees of the Celtic path of Gaelic polytheism. So, in essence, we're talking about the Ogham. Now, some people pronounce that Ogham. I've heard people in Scotland pronounce it Oyam. No doubt there's a modern pronunciation. There's an Old Irish pronunciation. And there's got to be some sort of dialect differences as well. So, this book. We'll give you a little walkthrough here. So right off the go, we can see, it goes through, ba, lush, fern, sella, nwyn, ua, duer, chine, col, quert, mwyn, gorth, netio, rush, elm. So it goes through, and then we got part 2 deals with druid magic, magical tools that the druids used, magical arts of the forest druids, a practical guide, celebrating the Celtic fire festivals. Then we have divination and divinatory meanings. And, what I forgot to mention about the last book as well as this book. These books here, at the very back, have, which is extremely helpful, that I think more authors should be doing. And she has taken her time to provide us a pronunciation guide. Can you see that, guys? Let's look at this. Let's look at that. So she'll give you the Gaelic spelling, or Nugalinga, and, phonetically broken down, so using the sounds of that language so that we can pronounce the word that we don't know how to pronounce correctly, which I am huge about. Now, I will say, I have an opinion here, that between these two books, there is conflicting pronunciation guides in the back. Meaning, this one and this one aren't exactly the same. So, my opinion on this is that the people who helped her put these together probably came from different regions. There's different dialect. Now, neither of these books is incorrect. Every pronunciation you're going to find in these books is spot on accurate. So if you even picked one book and you learned it, you're still learning the correct way on how to say these words. I think there is a dialect difference. I'm not sure why. Either that or I don't know, but there is some discrepancy here, given the fact that this book and both of these books, you can pick like 3-4 different words and then compare the way she has them broken down in the back of the book, and they're pronounced differently. And to my ear, it sounds like one sounds more Connacht and the other is more Munster. Maybe even one's a bit more Connemara and the other one might be something, Cork. But that's just opinion. I don't have any basis on that. So these are the 3 books that I have on hand right now that are Ellen's. The other ones in the car with my wife at the moment are Scottish Herbs and Fairy Lore, which I love that book. It's amazing. But I can't show it to you because my wife has it. And then the other one that we have is Secret Medicines from Your Garden, Plants for Healing, Spirituality, and Magic. So I can't really reference them to show you. I can definitely tell you that owning them is, I think, to me, essential for part of her collection. Now, she has books that we don't have. She has a Druid book out, which is like, I think, something about like conversations with different people that are kind of like, I don't want to say leading authorities, but well-known authors and people that are kind of, elders on the path, perhaps is a good way to say it, because she herself is as well. So she has a book that kind of like talks about like interviews with people like that. So I've heard. I don't own it, but she has something called Secret Medicines of Your Kitchen, which is more herbal lore. And Making Kitchen Medicines, a Practical Guide, which I don't have as well. I don't have those titles yet. If you're into stories, I think she's got maybe 3 or 4 titles out. that are, I I want to say they're more geared towards women. She's a like a woman's author, but I don't want to give an opinion on that because I have not read them. But it seems like they might be kind of geared toward, you know, the feminine path. So look her up. Mm-hmm. Because I can guarantee you the herbal stuff that you own, if you're a Wiccan, is nowhere near. No, anywhere, nowhere, anywhere. Where's my wife to correct me? Yes, real men drink coffee with a straw because bulletproof coffee can be greasy and I don't want it all over my face. I can guarantee you the herbal books that you're reading are nothing like these books. These books are very easy to read. The pronunciation guide is amazing. They are chock full of facts. They are like full bodied. It's like each chapter is like a meal. But it's not heavy. So it's not like it's not like it takes a lot to digest. Can you tell that I'm hungry and didn't have breakfast? Anyway, guys, I'm wishing you all the best. Please check her out. If you don't own her books, I would say maybe, and if we're talking herbal stuff, if I had to give a recommendation right off the go, buy buy the Druid's Herbal, for the Sacred Ear, buy the Sacred Tree Medicine, and then buy her Scottish Herbs and Fairy Lore book. Those would be the first three I would buy. Those would be the first chunk, the first installation. After that, I guess pick and choose where you want to go, but those would be my recommendation first three. I think you would get the most out of those right off the go, and I think you won't put them down for quite some time. So, if Ellen, you're watching this, please understand that from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all the work you have done throughout the years. It's been extremely influential, and hopefully we can try to put something together for 2020 for Lunasa. Slangafol.